Right, here we are. I was thinking of recording this video with the front-facing camera, but just to make it easier on myself and to not make this video so long to upload, I've decided to not do that. I said I'd talk about this today, so here goes. I have now finally enrolled in the level 3 personal training course with the provider that I've had since June last year. This is something that I decided to do yesterday. I was thinking about it, reason being, I was thinking about what I would tell the job centre for basically the entire day, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, because there's so many jobs that I've gone and applied to, and if you've been to the job centre, you know about the journal, the Universal Credit Journal, and you know, if you've used it and you're savvy with it, you know that there's a place called the job applications section where you can put down all of the places that you've gone and seen which are relevant to the sort of job that you're looking for. And I definitely have well over 5, but around maybe 10 or so. And I've been looking for a while now with the level 2 qualifications that I've got, and the jobs that I would consider ideal and that I've wanted to do, they either reject me, or they say they get back to me. In one case, they said that they get back to me, and they didn't. Plus, sooner or later, maybe in a few months or so, I want to be moving far, far away. And because of that, even though one of my commitments and the main reason why they being DWP, the people who are paying me from the job centre, where I'm getting the benefits from, sorry, they are paying me to look for work. But it doesn't make sense to just be in a job for a couple of months and then just leave. It makes sense to carry on doing what I've done before. I've known for a while that we'd be moving, and it makes sense to keep on looking in those sorts of areas that we might go. And with that in mind, because I found it so difficult to find work in where I'm currently living, I thought that I was going to do this anyway because I wanted to learn, but I thought that it would be sensible for me to enroll and get the level 3 qualifications with the money that they would be giving me. It's just about enough to pay for the memberships that I've got, the gym memberships that I've got, and to also pay on a monthly basis for this this course that I'm doing. That'll mean I'll be able to work as a qualified personal trainer. I just about have enough for that and some money on the side to spare for takeaway or something. But it wouldn't be enough to consistently shop week after week. But the odd purchase for bits and bobs here and there, and maybe for takeaway, I'd be able to spend the money on. I really hate takeaways. And it definitely isn't the healthiest of food, and I feel awful when I eat it. But I'm probably doing it now because in my mind I'm saying I'm just trying to survive. It's not true, but although it might not be true, that could be how I feel deep down, or what I'm thinking deep down. Just what I think, at least consciously, is that this money is definitely going into investing in myself a lot, so much so that there's not a lot left of it for anything else. A lot more has gone into investing in myself than into surviving. Financially, that definitely is going to pay off, because as I get more qualified, the earning potential is going to be hire on the premise I work for someone, which I plan to do at least for a while before I go full on with selling books about getting and staying in shape once I figure it all out. Not only in terms of writing the book, selling the book, but I mean actually doing it, because I'd like to practice what I preach. And I, in the past, have imagined myself having photos on the cover with like a 1-year transformation journey book. That's gone out the window. I won't be doing that. Because it's been too long. It's been well over a year, so it wouldn't just be a book about that. But what I would instead do is that would just be a minor part of the journey, no, of the book, sorry. But before I go full on with that, I'm definitely going to keep on getting qualified. And I'll probably carry on getting qualifications even past that point, honestly. Because I do like the learning, and I do like creating stuff like these sorts of videos, even though from time to time they definitely aren't long. But yeah, cut a long story short, it's been unnecessarily difficult to find jobs with just the level 2 gym instructor qualifications. And you think if you've become qualified for a job, you'd be able to find work at least fairly easily, but no. And this experience has been an eye-opener. It's not like there aren't opportunities going either in the area, but that could be one reason for why I might find it difficult to find work if I'm working as an employee rather than an employer. And I'll tell you what, if I were getting a lot of money in as someone that's self-employed and that has to pay their own taxes, I definitely wouldn't fire myself. I'd always give myself work. I'd always have something to do, something that I genuinely enjoy, at least more often than not, because it'd be unfair of me to expect myself to do something that I like 100% and don't dislike even slightly. I don't think that's realistic. It's natural to dislike some things about some stuff. For example, when I was younger, I would have liked to play video games, and although I would have liked to play them, there must have been some things that I disliked, but I still did it anyway. And I predict that going down this route might be the same. It might be the same way. It'd be like selling my APQs. I forgot what that stands for, but it's something that you can do in school. It's something I did in A level, and you create a project that's not only a dissertation, a word dissertation, but it's also a presentation that you'd show to whoever you want to show to, not only just teachers, but when I did it, at least I could bring a few people of my choice to the presentation. I felt really nervous about that, even though I prepared a lot for it. I still felt shaky. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't trust in myself, but I was thinking of saying I don't have to worry about that. I don't know. I probably would be, the healthier I get, the less likely that might happen, because I'd be there mentally. I'd be all right. I definitely wasn't at that age, and although if I look back at this part of my life and say I wasn't now, I'd definitely say I'm in a much healthier state mentally back then than now than I was back then. But yeah, I think I've got off track quite a bit. So we can talk more about the this stuff and how it works, this level 3 stuff. At the moment, I wanted to learn more about nutrition. I think that's because it's something that I'm trying to focus on now. I don't have much of a budget for it though, because like 3/4 of that claim is going into memberships and commitments of some sort, like the gym memberships I have, and also the monthly commitment to paying for that course. And I don't regret paying for them, but it does mean that a lot of the money that I've got at the moment, due to having such a low income, it's most of the money that I get is immediately gone. Like as soon as it's gone out, it's gone. I'm setting myself up for, if I keep this up, I'm setting myself up for poverty. This is, in fact, honestly, this is probably the Beagle benefits. It's probably the richest I've been in a sustainable way, going down a path that I at least think I want to go down. It's not the most I've ever been paid, but there's a lot of potential down this route. However, with getting paid more upfront at this customer service role that I was doing over a year ago, I saw potential in it, but I decided I didn't want to go down that route because I knew that I didn't have to take care of my health, try to be a business owner because somebody else chose that route. I see that now. I see that. I saw that, and still see, I'd say, that in the service industry, health's not a priority. If you work like how I did as a customer service advisor, the people around you probably are not physically in shape. Nobody was around me. And that's not an exaggeration. Nobody was. People have got a lot of stresses and maybe not a lot of knowledge on how to deal with them in a healthy way. And hence, a lot of people are just unhealthy. When I say unhealthy, not morbidly obese or something like that, but just it's obvious that they could be taking more care of themselves. And that would eventually, if I were to have stayed going down that route and getting money from them and getting paid to do that job, I would have probably gone down that route. Money doesn't necessarily mean amazing life. It doesn't mean health. And if I were to have kept going down that route, I could have put a lot of stress on my head. And I knew I was stressed. I remember one time in particular where I went boxing and I was clenching my jaw so much. I was scratching my head a lot. I've forgotten about that, but yeah, I was doing that a lot. And I went to the gym I used to go to, and I started boxing, and I was really punching hard with no wrist wraps either, which definitely wasn't the safest, but I trusted in my form to not hurt myself. I trusted in it enough, I should say. Even though I definitely do not have a lot of experience boxing. I didn't, and I still don't. But that will probably change the more money I have eventually. It's definitely within my plans to learn how to protect myself, just for my health and safety later on down the line, because you never know when you need it. Maybe on the street or maybe in the house if someone's trying to rob you or something. Not that I wish that upon myself or anyone, but just because I don't wish it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen. I mean, it could happen right now. Again, I don't wish that on myself, but it's a sensible precaution for just life in general, I think. You could feel more safe. You can feel more protected knowing that if someone were to try and harm you, you've got a lot of experience with dealing with such situations in the past. in a controlled environment, which is at least supposed to be constructive, where people can learn how to fight and protect themselves, and it's not just for survival and so that someone dies. It's definitely not. A lot of thoughts on the mind about how I've wanted to progress in life, but no money to fulfill the plans. That's changing slowly but surely, and these qualifications is going to make it a lot easier to actually land me a job which would be a foot in the door to land me jobs I'd consider more ideal, or income sources I consider more ideal. The starting salary would be minimum wage, even with the level 3 qualifications I've got at the moment, but it at the time would be the most money that I would have ever made, potentially ever. Even compared to the customer service role, because it could go anywhere from 20 plus grand a year to 80 grand a year, according to one of my tutors. And that's just as a trainer. That's not as someone that's working online through selling courses, for example, which I definitely could do as well. The exact things I'd sell courses on would probably be maybe a similar thing to what my personal training provider's done, but I'd be doing it my way, basically. Same way with the books, I'd be making tips that have helped me and not just have come from the course material that I would have learned over however long it would have been before I've started selling the books. Yeah.